Have you ever wondered what you should never do when flying? Well, you're in the right place. Today we're going to delve into the world of flight faux pas, uncovering the 20 things you should absolutely avoid doing when you're up in the air. These tips aren't just about etiquette, they're about ensuring a smooth, stress-free journey and getting to your destination in one piece. Let's kick things off with tip number 1, never arrive late at the airport. We've all seen those dramatic movie scenes where the hero dashes through the terminal, leaps over the baggage carousel and makes it to the gate just as it's about to close. In real life, it's far less glamorous. Arriving late can lead to all sorts of stress, from long lines at security to a mad dash to the gate. And if you're really unlucky, you might just miss your flight altogether. So do yourself a favor. Plan ahead, leave plenty of time, and arrive at the airport with time to spare. When I travel, I give myself an extra hour to 2 hours so I can check in, and then laze about checking out the food stalls and the girls before boarding. It is so cool. Moving on to tip number 2, don't ignore the safety briefings. Yes, we know they can be a bit dry, but these briefings are there for a reason. And if you are a frequent traveler like me, then it is nauseating. You could volunteer and conduct the brief yourself, but God forbid, in the unlikely event of an emergency, knowing what to do could literally be a lifesaver. So put down your book, stop scrolling through your phone, and give the cabin crew your full attention. It's only a few minutes and it could make all the difference. We've all experienced the trials and tribulations of air travel, whether it's a delayed flight, a turbulent ride, or a less than appetizing in-flight meal, peanuts and soda. But by avoiding these common flight faux pas, we can make our journeys a little bit smoother and a whole lot more enjoyable. Remember, punctuality and attentiveness are key first steps to a successful journey. So stay tuned as we continue to navigate through the do's and don'ts of flying. Now, let's talk luggage, shall we? Point number 3 on our list of flight faux pas is overpacking. We've all been guilty of it at some point. You know, stuffing that last pair of shoes or extra sweater into an already bulging suitcase, convinced that we'll need every single item. But let's face it, overpacking is more trouble than it's worth. Once I was with my mom, and when we got up to the counter to check in, the lady at the counter weighed our luggage and said that they were 50 pounds over, and we were already late and there was a line behind us, and my mom had to open up our cases right there with our undergarment and personal things for everyone to see. I was so embarrassed. Please don't ever overpack, it's not worth it. Firstly, airlines aren't too kind to overweight luggage. There's a limit, and if your bag exceeds it, be prepared to pay a hefty fee. And trust me, those fees can add up quickly, turning your budget-friendly trip into a financial nightmare. Secondly, overpacked bags are just inconvenient. They're harder to carry, harder to fit into overhead compartments, and harder to keep track of. So you might want to rethink that third pair of jeans or that extra makeup kit. Instead, pack smart, choose versatile clothing items that can be mixed and matched. And remember, you're going on a trip, not moving to a new country. Moving on to point number 4, let's discuss the importance of labeling luggage. It might seem like a minor detail, but it can save you a lot of hassle. Think about it. How many black, blue, or red suitcases do you see on the conveyor belt at the airport? Chances are a lot. And without a label, it's easy for someone to mistake your bag for theirs, or vice versa. So, take a few minutes to attach a label with your contact information. You could also add a distinctive marker, like a colorful ribbon or a unique luggage tag. This way, even if your bag ends up halfway across the world, there's a good chance it'll find its way back to you. In the realm of air travel, your luggage is more than just a bag. It's your travel companion, carrying your essentials and making your journey comfortable. So, treat it with the care it deserves. And remember, when it comes to luggage, keep it light and label it right. Picking your seat seems simple, right? Think again. Let's talk about point 5, not checking your seat before boarding. This seemingly trivial step could be the difference between a comfortable journey and a long, grueling ordeal. Imagine settling in, only to realize that your seat doesn't recline, or worse, it's right next to the lavatory. Maybe you're in a spot with limited legroom or next to a noisy galley. These are all pitfalls of not checking your seat in advance. So, how do you avoid these uncomfortable situations? The answer is simple. Do your homework. Use seat maps available on airline websites or third-party platforms to analyze the seating layout of your flight. Look for reviews from fellow travelers. They can provide invaluable insights. And remember, early bird gets the worm. The sooner you check in, the better your chances of securing a good seat. So, don't leave it to fate. Choose wisely. Your seat is your throne for the flight. Your health is paramount, even more so when you're 35,000 feet in the air. Let's dive into some common health hazards that passengers often overlook during their flights. Firstly, hydration. It's easy to forget to drink water when you're engrossed in a movie or simply trying to get comfortable in your seat. But did you know that the air inside an airplane cabin is incredibly dry? It's almost akin to a desert environment. This lack of moisture can leave you feeling dehydrated, leading to symptoms like dry skin, fatigue, and headaches. So, make sure you're sipping on water regularly throughout your flight, and avoid excessive intake of alcohol or caffeine, as these can further dehydrate you. Next up, jet lag. This is more than just a nuisance. It's a clear sign that your body's internal clock is out of sync. Symptoms can range from mild fatigue and irritability to severe disorientation and cognitive impairment. To mitigate the effects of jet lag, adjust your sleep schedule a few days before your trip to match the time zone of your destination. Also, try to get some sleep on the plane, especially during long-haul flights. Finally, let's talk about the importance of moving around during your flight. Sitting in one spot for hours on end can lead to a condition known as deep vein thrombosis, or DVT. This is when a blood clot forms in a deep vein, usually in the leg. It's a serious condition that can lead to life-threatening complications. To prevent DVT, make a habit of getting up and walking around the cabin every hour or two. If you can't do that, at least try some simple leg and foot exercises in your seat. In-flight health isn't something to be taken lightly. Remember, the choices you make at 35,000 feet can have a real impact on your body. Stay hydrated, rested, and keep moving. Your body will thank you. Food on a plane, it's a topic of much debate. We're soaring through the sky in a metal bird, and yet we're expected to dine as if we're in a restaurant. While the offerings might not always be 5-star, there are a few things you can do to improve your in-flight dining experience. Let's start with the 9th point on our list, not bringing your own snacks. Now, we've all been there, right? The hunger pangs hit, the trolley is nowhere in sight, and the only thing available is a packet of peanuts that wouldn't satisfy a sparrow. But here's a simple solution. Pack your own food. It's not just about staving off hunger, it's about taking control of your dietary needs. With your own snacks, you can cater to your preferences, dietary restrictions, or allergies. Plus, it's a great way to save some money as airport and airline food can be quite pricey. Moving on to the 10th point, consuming alcohol excessively. It might be tempting to knock back a few drinks to calm those pre-flight nerves or to kickstart your holiday, but hold on just 1 minute. Did you know that alcohol affects your body differently at high altitudes? That's right. 1 drink in the air can feel like 2 on the ground. This can lead to dehydration, which is already an issue in the dry cabin air. Not to mention, too much alcohol can also disrupt your sleep patterns, leaving you feeling groggy and disoriented. And let's not forget about the potential embarrassment of becoming that passenger on the flight. So the next time you're jetting off, remember these 2 simple tips. Pack your own snacks and go easy on the booze. Your body, and probably your fellow passengers, will thank you. Pack some snacks and go easy on the booze. It might seem like small adjustments, but trust me, your flight experience will be all the better for it. Flying is a shared experience, and your behavior affects those around you. Picture this, you're thousands of feet in the air, surrounded by strangers, all of you bound by an unspoken agreement to make this journey as pleasant as possible. Yet some people seem to forget this contract midway. Let's talk about 3 social slip-ups that can turn a flight into a nightmare. The first one is being a disruptive passenger. We've all been there, right? The person who's had a few too many drinks or the one who insists on having a loud conversation. It's not just annoying, it can make the flight downright uncomfortable for everyone else. So what can you do instead? If you want to have a drink, limit yourself. If you feel the need to talk, keep your volume down and respect the silence that others may need. Next up is not respecting personal space. Airplanes aren't known for their spaciousness, but that doesn't mean you have to invade someone else's space. Stretching out over the armrest, hogging the overhead bin, or reclining your seat without a heads up can lead to unnecessary conflicts. Instead, be mindful of the space you're given, and remember that everyone is trying to get comfortable too. Finally, not controlling your children. This can be a tricky one. Kids are kids, and they might not understand the concept of behaving in a confined space. But it's up to the parents to ensure they aren't running down the aisles or kicking the seat in front of them. If you're traveling with children, bring enough distractions to keep them occupied and remind them about the importance of good behavior. So there you have it. These might seem like small things, but they can make a big difference in the travel experience for everyone on board. So the next time you're on a flight, remember to be considerate of others. After all, as they say, remember we're all in this together. Technology can be a blessing and a curse when flying. Let's dive into the 14th point on our list, which is not charging your devices beforehand. This might seem trivial, but consider this. You're halfway through your flight, the book you brought isn't holding your interest, and your phone's battery icon is flashing red. Now, not all planes have charging ports, and even if they do, they're often already claimed. So, you're left twiddling your thumbs, staring at the back of the seat in front of you. A fully charged device can be your entertainment lifeline, especially during long-haul flights. So, make sure to plug in your devices before you leave your house. If you're prone to forgetting, consider investing in a portable charger. That way, you can charge on the go and never be left in the lurch. Moving on to point number 15, not putting your phone on airplane mode. Now you might think, what's the big deal? My phone's not going to bring down the plane. And while that's true, there's more to it than just that. When your phone is not on airplane mode, it's constantly searching for signal. This can interfere with the aircraft's navigation and communication systems, making the pilot's job more difficult. Not to mention, it drains your battery faster. So for the sake of everyone on board, just flick that switch and put your phone on airplane mode. And there's another bonus. Airplane mode can also help you disconnect and enjoy the journey. Whether that's getting lost in a good book, catching up on a movie, or just enjoying the view from 35,000 feet. So think of it not as a restriction, but as an invitation to relax and enjoy the flight. Charge up and switch off, your flight will be smoother for it. As we come to the end of our journey, let's cover the final things to avoid. First on our final list is not checking visa requirements. This is a crucial step in your pre-flight preparations. Without the correct visa, you could be denied entry into your destination country, leading to a wasted trip and possibly a hefty fine. Always check and double-check the visa requirements of your destination. Next, we have disregarding customs regulations. Each country has its own set of rules for what can and cannot be brought in. Ignoring these could lead to your belongings being confiscated, or worse, you could face legal repercussions. So, before you pack that souvenir or local delicacy, make sure it's allowed where you're headed. The third point is not having travel insurance. This might seem like an unnecessary expense, but when things go wrong, it can be a lifesaver. Lost luggage, medical emergencies, trip cancellations. These unexpected situations can cost a fortune. Having travel insurance gives you a safety net, ensuring that your journey isn't ruined by unforeseen circumstances. Moving on to the fourth point, not checking your passport's expiration date. This might seem obvious, but it's a mistake more common than you'd think. Many countries require that your passport be valid for at least 6 months from your date of entry. If your passport doesn't meet this requirement, you could be stopped at the border. Always check your passport expiration date well in advance of your trip. Finally, we come to not respecting local customs. When you're in a foreign country, remember that you're a guest. Disrespecting local customs and traditions can offend the locals and may even land you in trouble with the law. Always learn about and respect the local customs of the place you're visiting. Be prepared, be respectful, and be ensured. Safe travels. Safe. So there we have it. 20 things you should never do when flying, from avoiding baggage blunders to making wise seat selections, maintaining your health, eating right, and sidestepping social and tech troubles. We've navigated through the air travel faux pas that can take the wind out of your wings. The journey may be long, but with these tips, you're well equipped to fly right. Remember these tips for a smoother, safer, and more enjoyable flight experience. Until next time, happy travels.